All right, let's dive into a really core piece of AWS architecture, Route 53 hosted zones. This is all about where your DNS records live, and trust me, it's something you absolutely have to get right. Why? Because if you mess this up, your whole application can go dark, no matter how perfectly you built everything else. So let's get into it.
And this right here, it just says it all. You could have the most amazing, resilient, perfectly designed application, but if you make one tiny mistake, if you put a single DNS record in the wrong hosted zone, boom, it's all for nothing. Your users simply can't get to you.
So that's exactly what we're going to tackle right now. We're going to break down what these zones actually are, what the different types are for, and most importantly, how to use them correctly so your applications are always up and running.
Okay, so let's start at the very beginning. When we say hosted zone, what in the world are we even talking about?
You know, the easiest way to think about a hosted zone is like it's a digital filing cabinet. Seriously. This cabinet is where you keep all the DNS records, all the directions for a specific domain, like, say, company.com. When the internet asks, hey, where does company.com go? This is the container that has the one single authoritative answer. It's the source of truth.
So let's make this real. Imagine your hosted zone is for company.com. Well, inside that one container, that one filing cabinet, live all the records for its subdomains, www, API, or maybe DB. So when a request comes in for api.company.com, Route 53 knows exactly which cabinet to open to find the correct directions.
Now this is where things get really interesting and really powerful, because AWS doesn't just give us one type of container, it gives us two, each designed for a completely different world, the public internet and your own private network.
So first, you've got your public hosted zone. The name says it all. This is for anything and everything that needs to be visible to the outside world. We're talking about your main website, your public APIs, basically anything a customer or user out there on the internet needs to be able to find.
And on the complete other side of the coin, you have the private hosted zone. This one is for your secret internal world. It's locked away inside your secure virtual private cloud, your VPC. This is where you put records for your internal microservices, your database connection strings, all the stuff you would never want exposed to the public. It's a massive security feature.
So putting them side by side really drives the point home, right? Public is for the whole internet to see. It's for your customers. Private is for your internal stuff only, totally locked down inside your VPC, completely invisible from the outside. Picking the right zone for the right job is absolutely critical for security.
All right, so you might be wondering, if these private zones are totally invisible to the internet, how in the world do they actually work? How do your applications find each other inside your own network? Let's look at how that connection gets made.
Well, the magic is all in this idea of association. You have to explicitly connect or associate a private hosted zone with one or more of your VPCs. As soon as you do that, anything inside that VPC, your EC2 instances, your Lambda functions, whatever, can now resolve the names in that zone. And what's really cool is you can share these zones across different VPCs and even different AWS accounts. It's perfect for building a central internal DNS system.
Okay, so now that you've got a handle on the two different types of zones, we can start putting them together to do something really, really cool. This is a super common, powerful pattern that pros use, and it's called Split Horizon DNS.
The whole idea sounds a bit complex, but it's actually pretty simple and super effective. You use the exact same domain name, let's say api.company.com, but it gives you a different IP address depending on where the request is coming from. Is it from the public internet or from inside your own VPC? So let's follow the journey of a single request, okay? A customer out on the internet looks up api.company.com. Route 53 sees that, sends them to the public hosted zone, and they get the IP of your public-facing load balancer. Simple. But now an internal service inside your VPC makes the exact same query. This time, Route 53 sends it to the private hosted zone, which gives back the IP for a secure, internal-only load balancer. It's the same name, but two totally different, totally secure paths.
And look, this isn't just some clever party trick. This is a cornerstone of modern cloud architecture. It's huge for security because it means your internal traffic never has to go out over the public internet. And it's great for performance and cost, too, since traffic can go directly between services inside the AWS network.
All right, that was a lot to take in, so let's kind of lock in that knowledge by going over the most important rules to remember and, of course, the common mistakes you really want to avoid.
Okay, if you remember one thing from all of this, let it be this golden rule. If you have a hosted zone for company.com, but also a more specific one for dev.company.com, any query for something like api.dev.company.com will always go to the dev.company.com zone. Why? Because it's the most specific match. Knowing this one rule will save you so much trouble.
And of course, here are the classic traps we see people fall into all the time. Number 1, putting an internal record in a public zone by mistake. Huge security risk. Number 2, trying to look up a private DNS name from outside your VPC, like from your laptop. It's just not going to work. And the biggest one of all, creating a private zone and then just forgetting to associate it with your VPC. If you can avoid these 3 things, you are way ahead of the curve.
Okay, for our final section, let's talk about how to really sound like you know what you're talking about. We're going to boil all this down into a few key phrases that really show you've mastered this stuff.
These are the key phrases you want to burn into your memory. You've got hosted zones or the authoritative boundaries for a domain. You need to know that private zones work only inside their associated VPCs. Be able to explain that Split Horizon DNS allows for different answers for the same domain name. And of course, that golden rule. Route 53 always selects the most specific matching hosted zone. When you can say these things, it shows you don't just know the what, you know the why. So there you have it. You've now mastered the where, the containers we called hosted zones. You know how to keep your public and private traffic separate and secure. But that's only half the story. The next level is controlling the how. How do you send users to different places based on their location, or based on the health of your servers? Well, that's what we're going to cover next time, when we dive deep into Route 53 routing policies. See you then.